I managed to squeeze in seeing it last night. Deadpool and Wolverine, because I hadn't had a chance to see it over the weekend because I was busy. And me and Sean had tickets to see it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Sean, when are we going to see it?" Then we've seen it tonight, and you're like, "Sorry, mate, I've seen it twice."
Hang on a minute, we had tickets on the Friday.
Then we said we'd go Monday, and you were like, "Nah, mate, I've seen it twice."
I'm pretty sure you can go because you went on holiday.
The betrayal.
So you're the one that betrayed me first.
I have seen it though.
Yeah. You haven't even seen Deadpool 2.
No, I haven't.
Which is a kind of, not a major thing, but kind of...
I know what happens in Deadpool 2 with Cable and the time travel stuff and all that. So, I mean, these comic book films, I don't care what anyone says, you don't need to see... I know I know people argue, oh, it's got annoying because you had to see all of them to be able to make it make sense. But you don't. You never do. They always use exposition to make the plot make sense.
Yeah, I guess
and,
so.
You know, with Deadpool and Wolverine, there wasn't a plot anyway, so it didn't... you didn't even
You're
have
not a fan of Deadpool, so I think I can understand.
I do like the character. I'm a massive X-Men fan though.
Yeah.
Like in terms of comic books as well. I absolutely love the X-Men. They're probably my favourite heroes.
Yeah.
If I had to choose.
Have you seen X-Men 97, by the way?
Because the animated series.
Yeah,
no,
I really
want to. And
maybe we should do a little reaction series of it.
I watched the animated series when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But
apparently the new one is like absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Oh man, Deadpool and Wolverine though. I mean, warning, there are going to be spoilers here, but I feel like you probably already will have seen them.
Spoilers.
I managed to go into it without knowing any spoilers. Yep. But my problem is. Mm-hmm. My big problem with it is that they spoil a good couple of things in the trailers anyway, themselves.
What did they spoil in the trailers?
The X-23 was in it.
Yeah, that was the later.
They also spoiled
trailers,
They spoiled that some of the characters were in it, like Sabretooth, for example, but he wasn't even in it for that long.
I didn't even know he was in it.
Did you not?
Because I think I watched the first trailer and then I was like, oh, well, I'm going to watch that.
So when he had was about to have the showdown with Wolverine, were you like expecting a big fight?
Why was it in the trailers that it wasn't a big fight?
No, but it was in the trailers that they were going to have a showdown, and then
I'm not a massive fan of these superhero movies, so I wasn't expecting a massive fight, but I was expecting a fight. But I liked what I saw.
Yeah. I mean, the fighting and the choreography was great in this film, and I didn't necessarily have a problem with Deadpool as a character. I think for me, the film was really funny. Not in the lines that were written, but in the delivery of the actors and the communication between the actors and the kind of relationships that come about, because it's such a kind of buddy cop road trip film, isn't it? Where they're like absolute opposites.
Yeah.
That's where they're kind of, where it stems from, that's quite good. The comedy for me.
Yeah.
But I still think there are moments of that that infantile, immature comedy where people would just be like, ha ha ha, that's Deadpool. And we could just do anything. But it was the first time where I've really liked him as the character.
Right. I mean, this is only the second time you've seen him as the character.
Yeah. I did like Deadpool one as well. But I'm glad they're bringing it into the MCU a bit more. And they're not actually. By the end of the film, they're still not in the MCU. Like, as in the main 616 universe.
The sacred timeline.
Yeah. They're in a different one. So they're both 100% going to be back.
There's
for
a bit of
Wars,
a weird, and I don't know whether you can explain this, but there's a little bit of a plot hole at the beginning of the movie as to the timelines.
So he's in 616 because it says he's in 616, doesn't it? It comes up.
But he was never in 616 in the other two movies. So how did he get there?
He has the ability, I think, from Cable's. No, he doesn't, does he? Because Cable's thing's a time travel thing. He must be able to... He must have used the TVA thing at some point to go into a different timeline.
I don't... no. It's never explained.
It said 616, didn't it?
It said 616, but he was a part of the Fox universe. How was he ever in the sacred timeline? He was not in the sacred timeline in the first two movies.
The Fox universe, I think, was like 10... It said 10,005 or something like that.
It was like... it was like...
I think maybe then the Avengers are meant to exist in that universe as well. Yeah, I mean, it does.
But it said sacred timeline.
It does poke. People have given it rave reviews, and it does poke fun at the multiverse. But it still has the same exact problems that all the other multiverse films had. My one problem. I said, did I say what my one problem was? with the film. I think
The plot.
The plot, right? It's really thin. It has the exact same plot as Loki season 1, and nobody bats an eye.
I'm sorry, but
It's the exact same plot.
yeah, but Tom, every Marvel movie has the exact same plot.
Yeah, I guess so. But
Like,
this is down to the point with
hit
like
it,
this is down to the point with like, I guess it's a different villain, obviously. But I mean, I don't have a problem. I say I have a problem with it. It's the thinness of the plot. I don't know. There's something about it. I feel like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine would have been better if he was the Wolverine that we knew from the original X-Men films, but he was his own universe Wolverine, so there was that pessimistic outlook to it. I love seeing him in the suit.
Yeah,
Cool.
I liked the fact that he was a different Wolverine.
Yeah.
I didn't. When they first announced Deadpool and Wolverine, they said we're gonna pay homage. We're not gonna shit on the history of this character.
They literally did on Logan, which I love.
Which is hilarious.
Which I love because the other day, the director of Logan, what's his name? He did Ford v Ferrari and the new Indiana Jones film as well. He came out and said multiverse filmmaking is the death of filmmaking, or multiverse universes are the death of filmmaking, or something like that.
Yeah.
And they did that with the Logan at the beginning. I liked the opening bit there, but then for me, the film was just dead until Wolverine actually came into it.
Wolverine came into it pretty quickly.
I don't think it was that quick.
Well, after it was literally the setup. It was literally the setup of him not being Deadpool, and then him going into the TVA. Then he meets Deadpool.
But
Wolverine.
As soon as he came in, I thought it got its kind of momentum with the whole buddy cop thing.
I thought the beginning with him digging up Logan, the whole dance routine from the credits.
Yeah,
was
I'm not about that. I'm on about from the end of that beginning to where he said, "Oh, let me take you back."
Yeah, that was like 10 minutes of the movie.
It wasn't. It was like half an hour, mate.
It was not half an hour.
It definitely felt like half an hour. I felt like it dragged. I felt like it dragged. But I
mean, that's just the setup, and that's the problem where I had, because that's the part that for me had the plot hole of the whole timeline and sacred timeline thing.
Yeah, I think that although the film doesn't take itself seriously, you still have to for a little bit of plot, and I guess it does with the TVA and the villain.
It does with Wolverine.
And I do like. It reminded me of Guardians of the Galaxy a bit at the end, where they're holding on to the strands and kind of saving the world. It was very much like the first Guardians of the Galaxy, how the losers, who have always been the worst losers in their universes, finally saved the world, kind of thing. That is quite a cool.
Yeah.
A cool plot point.
I think for me, my opinion on this movie, I think the first two Deadpool movies, in terms of, like you said, plot, are a bit tighter, a bit more, just a little bit of a better story, a stronger story. Whereas this, I feel, is the most fun Deadpool movie.
But do you think it has the same plot problems as Multiverse of Madness, the Doctor Strange film? I think the problem is when you go into these multiverse films, a bit like Spider-Man No Way Home, although that did have a better plot, and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, people are almost watching it for the other universe, multiverse stuff. They're not watching it for the plot itself.
Yeah, I feel like
Secret Wars, people won't be watching it for a plot. They will be for maybe Avengers Doomsday that's been announced, but they won't for Secret Wars.
Well, this is where I feel that Deadpool and Wolverine falls in terms of plot, is that it's not relying on a strong plot like the other two did, especially the first one. The first one had to be a good plot in order to almost sell it. I think it relies heavily on cameos and fandom.
They're not really cameos. Because they do play
huge cameos.
A cameo is like a split-second thing. It's like a small thing. Yeah, but they do play a part in the plot. It's not like
but you would.
They're in
still
it for a short amount of time.
I
they're
think
secondary actors. I think they're not.
But they're still
cameos.
They're still cameos.
Cameos like Stan Lee when he appears. Cameo is like.
It's another
Reed
character.
Richards
It's another character. It's a nod to something else. That's what it is.
So go on then. Talk about the cameos. Because they had the Fox universe characters, didn't they? They had Elektra from the Daredevil films.
Yeah,
and they actually was a real joke at Ben Affleck's expense as well, weren't they? They were like, "Oh, do you have
yeah.
a Daredevil?" And they were like, "Nah, he died." And they were like, "Oh, sorry." And she was like, "Eh."
Yeah.
And then they had Blade, Wesley Snipes,
Which was insane.
When I did not expect him to be in it at all. When he walked in round the corner and you saw him, I was like, bad ass.
Yeah, the music was on point. The whole audience, the 2 times I went to see it, the whole audience were like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Like they were shocked that he was in it.
They had who were the other one? Gambit, played by Channing Tatum,
which was hilarious.
Yeah, it was always planned that about when X-Men Origins Wolverine came out. Because Gambit was in that film. Later on, they were trying
Gambit
to get
standalone.
Gambit standalone. It almost got made,
and he was on. But he was on the list.
They did take the. I thought the actual fighting style and look of his character was sick, but it was like the animated series look, wasn't it? But
yeah,
obviously they take the mick out of his accent and stuff like that. His dialect coach. Who's your dialect coach?
He's like, "I was born ready when I was shot out of my daddy's dick."
And then the last one was in that group was X-23, who I knew was coming anyway. Did you know she was going to be in it anyway?
Yeah, I saw a small trailer where she was in it, and I was a little bit disappointed. If I'm honest,
I was disappointed she was the last. They were like, but we've got a 4th member. I was like, who is it? And I was like, oh yeah, X-23. Was it?
But I was almost also just disappointed in her performance.
Yeah,
it was almost soulless.
But I never had a connection. I thought
in Logan she was brilliant.
She was all right in Logan, but I never had a connection to that character. Like, oh my god, it's amazing.
No, I guess not. But this time round, it was like her acting was just empty.
Yeah,
that I really felt that the scene between her and Logan at that campfire was so quick and so offbeat, like emotionally, that I wish they had written that scene a little bit better. It started off really good when she started talking, and then when he interrupted her, she was like, "I'm not finished." Yeah. I liked that small little element, but
there was one massive disappointment that I had. I don't know whether, because you hope for, there's going to be cameos, so you're thinking, oh, who could it be from like the Fox films or something. I just wanted the OG X-Men, or just 1 or 2 of them. I really did, man. Like James Marsden as Cyclops or something. I feel like he could have filled her role way better.
The only reason why they didn't is
connection.
because it was the Wolverine that they picked backstory. They were all dead.
Yeah, but they could have all been dead in his universe, yet he still spoke to one. Yeah, like Magneto or Professor X or Storm or something. Yeah, I just think any of them could have been, because we know them. Yeah,
there could have been another emotional scene of like a flashback or a memory when she goes into his head and maybe he's talking to Cyclops.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been better. But there was one real cameo in this film that was a proper cameo, and that was Cavalrine, which I was like, no way.
That was brilliant.
Because there was a rumor that he signed on to do a Marvel film, but it was going to be like Captain Britain or one of an actual Marvel character, and he still could, because now anybody can play anybody.
Well, he said, "Welcome to the universe. We'll treat you better than the shitbags across the street."
And I'm so glad, man. I'm so glad, because he did get treated like shit.
He did. 100%.
He dropped The Witcher
to play Superman again,
and
they were like, no. So he basically quit his job to get that job, and then he got screwed over.
Yeah.
One of the funniest elements for me was Nice Pool.
Yeah,
when he was getting shot,
and he was like, "So how fast do you take to regenerate?" And he's like, "Regenerate?"
He's like, "I think I'm here."
Yeah, that was also the funniest moment. The multiverse Deadpools do get on my nerves a bit because they're so wacky and out there. Some of them are so ridiculous, aren't they?
Well,
and Dogpool gets on my nerves. I know some people will eat that up and they'll love it, but Nice Guy Deadpool, I love.
Yeah, I mean, for me, again, one of the things that you say you're not a fan of with Deadpool is that he can say and do anything, and it's like, oh, that's Deadpool. But that's why people love him, because he's such a breath of fresh air that he can do whatever. Yeah, and it's entertaining. But that's why it's a fun Deadpool movie.
When I found it funny, it is the performances of the character, of the
actors,
delivery
of the lines.
The delivery of the lines. It's not necessarily some of the lines themselves.
It's like,
a lot of almost every gag from up until Wolverine appears were in the trailers.
Yeah. I loved Wesley Snipes' first line in the movie. He's like, "I thought you were retired," and he was like, "Retarded."
I love the line where he's like, "There's only one blade," and then Deadpool just looks at the camera and goes, still might be there. That film's taken ages to get made, but the best actor for me, I said I liked the cameo of Wolverine, but the best other actor was Chris Evans coming back. When I first saw him, I was like, for God's sake, I was like, Captain America again.
Oh, you thought Captain America? I turned straight to my brother and I was like, Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I should have thought
Johnny.
that. But when he said, wait for the line, I was like, he's definitely going to say flame on at that point. So at that point, I knew it. But when his skin got like zapped up and he was just like...
You stay for the after credits as well.
Yeah. That was he's a great actor. Chris Evans is a great actor. He's always been comedic. The role of Johnny Storm was the comic relief of that original Fantastic Four anyway. Yeah. But I really want to see that Fantastic Four cast in Secret Wars as well. They can do anything. That's the point. The problem is when you can do anything, people will always be disappointed about.
They do need to wrap up this whole multiverse so that they can go back to a stronger
Secret
story.
Wars will be it. They will.
Yeah, no, 100%. It will be.
Because
it will be the
there's rumor that Kevin Feige's next Avengers Ultimate End Game phase or whatever it is going to be Avengers versus X-Men with like the new X-Men cast that they bring in.
Yeah.
Do you think they should have Henry Cavill as Wolverine after that or not? Just someone new.
I think they should go with someone that's like small, short, really.
What,
someone
like
that is
Hugh Jackman when he first...
Yeah. That looked obviously ridiculous because it was CGI and they tilted the camera to make him look even shorter. But I really think that they should stay true to the comic and have someone... I liked the idea of Daniel Radcliffe potentially.
Apparently they were going in for Taron Egerton because he's quite short.
Taron Egerton as well. I wouldn't mind. But someone short that could... I don't know.
But there'll be... Henry Cavill's got legions of fans, so they'll probably be campaigning for him to get it now.
Well, I think with the thing with X-Men, are they not wanting to go for a younger cast again, so that they can prolong it?
No, I think they're going to go for a cast that's more like, when you say younger, I think do you mean like X-Men Apocalypse cast?
Early to mid-20s.
I think they'll go for early 30s. I think they'll go for like Chris Evans' age when he was first Captain America.
Well, how old was Hugh Jackman when he was first cast as Wolverine? He was early 20s. He was like 23. No, he wasn't. Maybe 26.
No way was he early 20s.
He was like 26, wasn't he?
He's about 52 now, isn't he? And didn't that come out in 99?
How old was...
I'll look at it now. So X-Men came out in 2000 and Hugh Jackman was born in 68. So he was 32.
Oh.
So it'll be that sort of age, won't it?
Yeah.
It'll be that sort of age. That's what it should be as well, I think. You can have some of them as younger, like Rogue and Gambit and Nightcrawler and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited for the new X-Men to finally come into the...
Well, they haven't announced it yet.
They will.
But it will be a Secret Wars when they're first revealed, I think.
No, I think they'll do the OG X-Men.
Do you not think they'll do the new X-Men and that's how the new X-Men come into the sacred timeline? Because they can't do a multiverse. They can't do a multiverse after... I think what will happen... They stop the multiverse after Secret Wars. They're going to have to bring the new X-Men into the sacred timeline.
So the Fantastic Four film is going to bring the Fantastic Four into our universe, right? They've said that it's going to be an alternate universe.
Set in the 60s.
Set in like a futuristic 60s, though.
Yeah.
Like
possible
like the
what
comics. Could have been, yeah.
Like the first comics,
which is really cool, and they're gonna. This segues into our next thing anyway, which is obviously the news of Robert Downey Jr. being cast as Doctor Doom, and he will come through with them as well. So that's how they will explain that.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that's my guess, but I think there'll be some kind of after Secret Wars, something will happen to the MCU 616 universe, which will bring mutants in,
right?
So they'll bring them in that way. Or maybe they've always been there. I like the idea that they've just always been there.
And hidden, yeah.
And hidden and / still mistreated when they're discovered.
Yeah, no, that could still work.
I like that idea.